then I think of one of the most hideous cases of all happening in our times. Have you heard of Rwanda? More than 1 million black people murdered by black people, and murdered by Catholics and Baptists and Adventists and lots of other folk. You know why? Not because they were of a different color, but because they were of a different tribe. And people say to me, there could never come the rise of the Antichrist. Some years back, I had the great privilege of running 2 large evangelistic crusades in Harare, Zimbabwe, once called Salisbury, Rhodesia. There I spoke to vast crowds of people, mainly black people with a little sprinkling of white farmers. They had been in that country almost as long as the black people. And I've never spoken anywhere in the world to better people than these black people with the little sprinkling of white people. And we saw thousands of them come to a knowledge of God. But I turned on the BBC just yesterday, and I was shocked and stunned to discover that some of those people are now being persecuted and driven off their farms by Mr. Robert Mugabe, who was the black president, who was a communist, and now is trying to drive into the sea the white people. And so you see, my friend, black people have the capacity to be as much racists as white people. And there is a reason for this, because in black chests and in white chests, there is a heart that is sinful. So the problem, my friend, is not color. The problem is sin that resides in our hearts. And I get tired of people talking black, white, as though we are different. Cut each man down the middle. And he looks the same because he is. Pray for our believers, particularly our white believers in Zimbabwe. But when I was there was a war on between the Shona and the Zulus. On one occasion, I spoke to 20,000 Zulus in a great outdoor meeting, told them, yes, I know of your history. I know of Shaka Zulu. But you see, the Zulus are not in charge there. The Shona tribe is in charge. When you look at them, they look the same. But not very long ago, some of our black brothers who belong to the Zulus, to whom I've spoken, were having a camp meeting there with their children in a large tent. And the Shona tribe surrounded them and Mr. Mugabe sent them and set fire to the tent. And as they ran out of the tent, on our property, on our church property, as they ran out of the tent, they machine gunned them to the ground. I think of the Nazis, the German people. People say the German people were not aware of this. That is not so. The vast majority were aware of this. They were participants in it. The people, my friend, that were machine gunned, the Jews that were thrown into the concentration camps, were done so by the average Joe German soldier. The apostles of culture. I think of Stalin with his war against the Jews and the Poles. Millions, millions, millions. I have visited a place in Ukraine, and I have walked across the bodies of hundreds of thousands of Jews murdered by the Germans when they invaded Ukraine. You see, my friend, whether you are white or black or brown or yellow, I want you to know that God is colorblind, and in the judgment, God is not going to look at your color. God is going to look at your heart. And the problem with the black man is the same problem with the white man, or the brown man, or the yellow man, or any man in between. The problem is human nature. Please take your Bible and come to Jeremiah 13 and verse 23.